Yeah, and so I mean, of all the players you've seen, and not naming individuals by any means, but like from a playing, with all your experience, both from a playing and now a coaching point of view, what do you think are the defining characteristics that you would say the biggest, the majority of all those people who go on to have a decent career, not necessarily a Springbok, but like a decent career. What commonality is there amongst most of those people? Do you think? What
I think
common trait?
common trait, firstly, right up there is work ethic. Someone that's willing to work. You can pick it up. Work ethic and constantly progressing, being obsessed with progressing and evolving as a player. So that means they're constantly upskilling themselves, working on not only their weaknesses, but amplifying their strengths. Someone that you can see is resilient. So even they get criticized or they have a poor game, always staying in a fight, always bouncing back. Because a lot of people think talent, it's not just talent that gets you. Like some guys have the flair. If you look at your guys like Ntamak or Dupont, everybody sees the flair side of things, but there's a hard graft behind that, being a student of the game. So those are the type of things that you look at. We got a young flyer called Ugoris that also played in the under 21 World Cup in South Africa. That guy's constantly on the computer, watching training, analyzing games, perfecting his craft as a kicker. So those are the type of things. But I think the biggest thing that we are looking for, you need to have a certain skill set, obviously. But as coaches, what we're looking for guys that are working hard, guys that are aggressive, guys that are willing to do what is necessary to reach their goals. But work ethic is key because we've seen in the past, whether it's in top 14 premiership or international rugby, guys who purely just rely on talent, their performances are not sustainable. We want
Yeah.
sustainable performance.
So it's almost like the physicality and the physical nature, especially rugby is a big combat
Yeah.
sport.
Oh,
I mean
obviously.
that gets you in the door, but it's almost the other things define how if you stay in the room, I suppose, or how far you
Yeah.
go along that journey.
I think what I've learned, even from personal experience, sometimes we get too obsessed with your benchmarks in fitness testing and stuff. Those things, it has a role. I believe it has a role in a sense, allows you to track a player's progression and see where he's at. I normally like to look at those type of stats when I see a player's dropping in performance, okay, and he gets tested again. Okay, we see this substantial drop in his testing. Okay, why? So that means maybe overweight or maybe not working hard. It depends how you use all those benchmarks, all those numbers, because we don't want to be Excel coaches as rugby players, Stats is important. It has its role. And if you look at most rugby players, they all have a decent level of strength and power. But at the end of the day, you talked about physicality, comes down to that aggression, comes down to that work rate, that work ethic, constantly working on your craft, working on your passing skills, especially if you're a forward or even a back.